My name is Kieran Pledge, and today we're talking about crime in Bicester. Firstly, let's talk about the statistics we gathered through our surveys that we did in the Bicester School to the Year 13s. If you look at graph number 1 from the graphs that my beautiful assistant Kieran Pledge should have handed out just a minute ago, you will see that out of our sample of 20 Year 13s in the Bicester School, only 4 of them said they had been victim to a crime. This could suggest that the vast majority of people in Bicester have not experienced being a victim, therefore suggesting that crime rates are low in Bicester. However, our sample cannot be seen as representative of the whole of Bicester, as we have a very specific sample and the data they provide cannot be applied to everyone, such as 78-year-olds. Now, if you look at graph number 2, you will see that out of the 4 people who had been a victim of a crime, assault was the most common one in Bicester, which suggests that assault is the most common crime within Bicester. If you look at graph number 3, you'll see that only 5 out of our 20 people had reported a crime to the police, further implying that crime rates in Bicester are low. However, as before, we cannot apply these results to the whole of Bicester due to our small, specific sample. However, out of our sample of 20 people, 18 people believe that Bicester does have a high crime rate, which opposes the previous set of results and suggests that Bicester does in fact have a high crime rate. This could be due to people not reporting the crimes they see and letting the crimes enter the dark figure of crime, or people have a set judgment of Bicester or specific parts of Bicester that makes them think that it has a higher crime rate when it really doesn't. If you look at graph number 5, you'll see that out of our sample of 20, 9 people think there is a knife crime problem within Bicester. This means that almost half of our sample thinks that there's a danger of being stabbed whilst out in Bicester. The data shows us that knife crime is most definitely a problem. If you look at graph number 6, you'll see that out of our sample of 20, each and every one of them, that's 20 people, think that there's a drug problem within Bicester. This shows that drugs are very much a problem. However, this piece of data may not be representative, as our sample contained young teenagers who are most likely to know people who are involved in the use of drugs. If you look at graph number 7, you'll see that out of our sample of 20, 7 people knew someone who had been involved in knife crime. This shows that knife crime is definitely a problem within Bicester. If you look at graph number 8, you'll see that out of our sample of 20, 19 people knew someone in Bicester that had been involved with drugs. This shows that drugs are most definitely a problem in Bicester, because nearly everyone in our sample of Year 13s knew someone who has used drugs. If you look at graph number 9, you'll see that out of our sample of 20, 11 of them think the police are completely and utterly useless. This is not good for our town as a whole, as it means the police have no authority and no trust by the people they're supposed to be protecting. If you look at graph number 10, you'll see that there's quite a lot of data, so let me break it down for you. 9 out of 20 people said that murder was the worst crime ever committed in Bicester. 4 out of 20 people said that either rape or the bird incident was the worst crime committed in Bicester. 2 people said that stabbing was the worst crime, and 1 person said drug circles was the worst crime. If you look at graph number 11, you'll see that 5 out of our 20 people said they had been indirectly affected by crime. This suggests that there are crimes happening within Bicester that affect people other than the person that the crime is aimed at. If you look at graph number 12, you'll see that 8 out of 20 people think the police can do nothing to help reduce crime, which is a very scary thing, because the people who live in Bicester do not trust the police to keep them safe, which is what they're supposed to do. 6 out of 20 people said having more police can reduce the amount of crime. 2 out of 20 people said that legalising marijuana would reduce the amount of crime in Bicester. I'm now going to pass it over to Jonathan, who's been joined by PC Solomon, to ask a few questions about what he thinks about crime in Bicester.
Yes, thank you, Kieran. I'm joined here today by PC Solomon, and we're here to ask him a few questions about what he thinks about crime in Bicester. So, PC Solomon, what's your opinion on crime in Bicester, and do you have any statistics you can share for us? Thank you, PC Solomon. If you didn't understand him, he was talking Latin, so I'll translate a little bit for you now. Basically, what he said was, in the last year, from November 2018, crime in Bicester has gone up from 227 a month to 277 a month in October 2019. He also said that during the time period between November 2018 and October 2019, violent and sexual offences were the most common crimes committed in Bicester, closely followed by shoplifting and then antisocial behaviour. The least most common crimes in Bicester were possession of weapons, robbery and bicycle theft. During that same time period, 692 people committed violent sexual offences, 501 people committed shoplifting, and 383 people committed antisocial behaviour. Whereas only 24 people committed robbery, 20 people possession of weapons, and 77 people committed bike theft.
Wow, thanks Jonathan and PC Solomon, that's really helpful. Why don't we use those statistics to say what they suggest about crime in Bicester? Well, as we can see, violent sexual acts were the top of the list in Bicester for committed crimes. So what does that say about Bicester? Also high up the list was shoplifting and antisocial behaviour. You know, them people who are at the Sainsbury's little bridge bit under there, playing their music, revving their bikes, antisocial behaviour, not good. I've spotted that myself, because I'm a reporter. Shoplifting, well, it could suggest there's a lot of people in need of food, drink, stuff they can't afford to buy because they just don't get enough money from their jobs, so maybe Bicester needs to up the income in it. We do actually have a clip which we got earlier of someone being very antisocial to an old man trying to tell him to turn down his class music.
Oh, did you turn it down? Hey.
Shut up, bro.
Oh my god, look at that.
Get out of here, bro.
Baby, stop it. Away from me, bro.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Kieran, that looks a lot like you in there. Well, it wasn't, alright. He bopped me in the eye, and after that we got his name. Guess what his name was? Bloody Tom Floyd. Proper antisocial behaviour. Nothing that you would see from news reporters like me. Wow, who would have guessed it? It was Tom Floyd again, stealing from my shop, my milkshake. I had a poster there where I saying, Kieran's, you know what he did? He took it. After looking at all the statistics for crime in Bicester, some that we've got from our own by doing surveys, and some we've got from the actual police websites, such as police.uk, we can use all these statistics to conclude that Bicester doesn't have a crime rate compared to places such as London, such as Manchester, such as Liverpool, you know, all them places. However, for a small town that is, well, quickly developing, I would say, you know, it does have a pretty high crime rate. And we've got to make this news documentary to show the police what they need to do to stop these crimes, reduce these crimes in Bicester. That's all from my crime documentary. Hope you enjoyed. Tom Floyd as a thief. Get on with your sociology, A-level work. I heard that Kieran Pledge is best in the class, closely followed by absolutely no one, so... Well, thank you very much for watching today's news on Kieran Pledge's, Tom Floyd's, Jack Vondel's, Amber Palmer's and Barbara Dabrowska's news channel. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to go now, see you later. I killed my husband in a bed.